It's time to dish on Saratoga, the real Saratoga. Opening day, take three. But, David, this is the real opening day.
This is the real opening day. Finally, after all
Finally.
the preview cards last weekend at Belmont at Saratoga, finally have real Saratoga. But it looks like real Saratoga. We got a lot of baby races. The Duncan Diana is the featured race on Saturday, as always, for opening day. But yeah, it
Opening
looks like
weekend.
opening weekend. Excuse me. Not to Scourville, not even
Nah, I
local.
was a little disappointed by that, moving
That was
the,
an.
the
I
two year
guess they
old
were
races.
spacing it out because of
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality now, I suppose, with 2 year old stakes. But I kind of felt like Schuylerville and Sanford are opening week races. And, kind of joke about the opening. I mean, Belmont Stakes, a lot of great races. That's typical anyway. This last week, the Turf Festival or whatever they called it, definitely felt like downstate cards. Like there
It
was,
was downstate.
other than the grade ones, which even those, whatever, but that Sunday card was not Saratoga.
No, they had 3 starter optional claimers on the grass. I don't think Saratoga is going to be running a lot of starter optional claimers on the grass. But yeah, that's what I was getting at. Real Saratoga cards, it appears. Really, really good allowance races this weekend. Also, a bunch of baby races. Saturday's card is kicked off with a girl and boy filly colt right off the rip. So I'm sure there's
Yeah.
a bunch of steam going to be flying around. A lot to look
And
forward to.
And speaking of steam, world's next fastest horse, certainly one of the hallmarks of Saratoga. And I would say Delmar would share this. Of the 5 things on your list, I think this is probably where they overlap the most in terms of the summer circuit. But everyone loves having the beat on who the best 2 year old is at the meet. You think we'll see him or her early or late?
Usually middle to late. I mean, Sovereignty ran at Saratoga in his debut last year, and he came
Yeah.
fourth. He didn't even win, and look what he's turned out to be. So you never know. You never know who's going to be in a race at Saratoga. I mean, you're going to hear a lot of horses, aka the world's next fastest horse, that don't turn out to be very good. But I think we all know there's going to be a lot of good 2 year olds that are going to be ready to go and prove to be really good horses. That's why they're. I mean, it's Saturday. There's a Asmussen horse that costs 1.4 million. So I'm not saying he's the world's next fastest horse, but there's going to be a lot of beautifully bred horses for the entire meet, and I think that's the big part of Saratoga. I think Del Mar is a little more spread out. I mean, not as spread out because Baffert, I feel like, wins about every
The
single
2 year
baby
olds
race
for
in
sure.
Del Mar. I think, yeah, I think Saratoga. You have Mott, Pletcher, Chad Brown. I mean, even people like Jeremiah
Sure.
Ehart, like they win 2 year old races.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys that prep for
And as
this meet.
much as Ellis sort of having a come up or some guys sticking around, the big barns when they have a good one, I think are pretty keen to show them off at Saratoga. So, and I'm stealing this because I watched the DRF preview shortly before, but they mentioned guys like Al Stahl, Eddie Keneally. Obviously, they're more Kentucky based, but when they show up with the firster, it definitely you wonder if this is one of their better ones.
Yeah, you always got to pay attention to ship ins like that. Like I said, Asmussen, he doesn't run near as many horses as he used to in New York, but he shipped up a horse on Saturday, cost 1.4 million, not running him at Ellis, been working at Keeneland. He ships him up to Saratoga for opening Saturday. You kind of got to think horses like that are ones that are probably
Yeah,
runners.
and I had a stat was kind of interested because obviously a lot of the debut runners get steam and talked about, but if a second time starter takes money, 2 year old races, second time starter, 8 to 5 or less, positive ROI at Saratoga. So, and that specifically second time. So it actually tails off big time third or fourth. So if they've had multiple chances, they're typically, even if they're not bet at all, they don't run well relative to the others, but those second time starters who take money seem to be pretty solid. So watch out for that.
Well, there's a Cassie horse on Saturday. It ran second to the Asmussen Monster. They ran last weekend at Saratoga. Got a 91 buyer. The name's escaping me.
Obliteration.
Won the obliteration. He obliterated the Cassie horse in the first race on Saturday. But last year, I think Sandman lost to Churchill in his first race and then came to
Mm.
Saratoga and ran very well and won his second start. So you definitely want to pay attention to horses that have experience and against all the
For
steamers.
sure. Yeah. Sometimes sneaking a quasi price. I mean, 8 to 5 is not great, obviously, but compared to odds on like some of those steamers are. Next on the list, more a handicapping topic, but certainly one of, I mean, really applies to any circuit you play, but we're all in on Saratoga. People love playing it, talking about it, and certainly the bias effect. Now, when you say this, do you think more in terms of where they are on the track, like rail outside or running style speed closer?
Yeah. I probably should have labeled this track trends. I just think Saratoga, for example, on the inner turf, well, they have two turf courses, obviously, with the inner and the melon. You have to be inside saving ground on the inner turf. I mean, it's just the turns are so tight. If you're hunting wide on the outside of that turf course on the inner turf, you're really in
Mhm.
trouble. I mean, the first 4 days of the Belmont at Saratoga, not the Belmont Stakes weekend, the Belmont at Saratoga July 4th festival, the inner turf was all inside. Like horses were rallying only up the inside, speed horses, because they move the rails around, take them down. I think the inner turf has much more of a bias than the melon turf seems to play much more fair. And then I don't know. I mean, this might be a thing for all dirt courses, but these two turn, especially obviously the 9 furlong races at Saratoga, I don't ever see horses make up ground hardly. I mean, those races really have to completely
Yeah.
fall apart for horses to make up ground. So I think trends, you just kind of want to pay attention to those type things the first couple days. I'll be playing towards more speed horses on the main track, and I want horses that can save ground on the inner turf. Um, the melon, though, I'm the melon turf's out, or I think that turf course is
Right.
pretty
I
fair
would
for the
agree.
most part. So more just kind of track trends and paying attention to what's going on. But I would definitely lean on forward horses going nine
And I'll throw in
furlongs.
the Wilson chute inside the place to be without a doubt.
Well, I read the condition book doesn't have any listed in the first book. There's no
None.
Wilson shoot
Okay.
races, but all the mile and a 16th races I think go to a mile. I
All
want to
right.
say. So I think there will be some if they go off the
Which
turf, I think. But there's no like listed.
interesting.
So if they go off the turf on the mile, then they're
Okay.
mile 16th, then they go
So
to.
the
That's what I
must be
think
some
I saw.
horseman angst if they didn't card any.
I don't think in the first book there's any Wilson shoot carded races. And I think 2-year-old races that get moved off the turf this year go to 7 furlongs,
Ah,
not the mile on the turf. I think they go to
see?
seven
Yeah.
furlongs. I'm 100% sure of that, I
That
think.
definitely feels to me like some boo birds out on the Wilson. So off the turf, still keep that in mind. The rail, definitely the place to be. Trainers to watch. I mean, Saratoga, somewhat synonymous. Some of the big names. I will say what blows me away is, and there are other big trainers besides Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher. They're the big two. Whatever reason, Chad's wagering numbers, ROI, HRN impact, better than Todd's. So I don't know what it is about Todd. I mean, they seem to both have name recognition to me, but he is absolutely more overbet than Chad Brown is.
Well, I think the other Chad, comes into effect a lot with Chad. He'll run two horses in a grass race. The longer price will win. I feel like Pletcher horses, I don't want to use the word sexy, but they're more appealing on paper. Like you see a Todd Pletcher first time starter at 1 to 5, a dirt horse that just had a big blowout
Right.
maiden win, coming back in a non-winners of one. Chad knows how to he knows how to get a little price in. He might have a horse that's 2 to 1, but it kind of seems like the 6 or 7 to 1 can get the job done. He's obviously a good trainer on dirt as well, but he was 1 for 20 last week at Belmont at
Mm.
Saratoga with like a 5 cent ROI or something. So I don't
All
know if that
right.
was just his only winner was Zulu Kingdom in the Manila, but I don't think that's going to last very long. A couple of people to mention, like Mike Maker always starts off the Saratoga meet guns blazing. I mentioned Jeremiah Englehart. He seems like a guy that points to this meet with 2-year-olds. I just would pay attention to trainers. Cherie DeVoe started off on fire last year and then really slowed down, kind of seeing what these trainers do at the beginning of the meet, because let's be honest, a lot of these people run good grass horses and then wait for Kentucky Downs per
Right.
se, try to get 1 or 2 good starts in. So I like to pay attention to trainers like that started off well in the past. Try to jump on the train early with them and then see what happens as the meet
What do
goes
you do
along.
with Linda Rice?
Nothing. I don't figure her out. I'm abysmal. On Sunday, this past Sunday at the Belmont, she ran a horse Peak that was impossible to beat on paper, 3 to 5. Horse runs a terrible third. The second to last race, she runs this horse that was never won on the dirt, just breaks bad and wins by 5 lengths on the dirt. It's just it's impossible. She's
Yeah.
impossible to
All
figure
right.
out.
Well, demand a price, I guess. But
She is an MTO person though. She's really good
that
at
is,
MTOs.
yeah, that's certainly worth keeping in mind. And speaking of human titles, some of the names, trainers to watch that aren't necessarily going to compete for the top spot. I'm guessing the jockey race will. I guess the trainer race could be three or. I mean, it depends on if they have the horses ready for what's in the book, right?
Yeah, I mean the trainer race, let's be honest, Chad's probably even money to win, but at Saratoga they have so many 2-year-old races. So if a guy like Pletcher got super hot in 2-year-old races, he could hang around. If it got rained off a lot, I
Right.
guess, Chad would get affected with all his turf horses. But yeah, I mean, the jockey race this year is interesting because I mean Flavian didn't win the meet last year, but he won 14 grade ones or whatever it was, some crazy
Right.
amount of stakes races. So I think he didn't win the meet, but he really won the meet. He just won his first jockey's title in New York, one in the Belmont at Aqueduct / Belmont July 4th at Saratoga / Belmont Saratoga title. They combined all those, so he won his first New York title. So he's coming in with some steam against Irad, who won last year. I think he's won 5 or 6 riding titles at Saratoga. So it should be a good jockey matchup. Trainer matchup is kind of depend on 2-year-old racing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know like the bookmaking and fixed odds and racing has a debate whether it'll work, on horses in real time, race to race. But I think it's criminal that there wouldn't be a book on who's going to win the jockey title. Like, why wouldn't that be something you want people to bet on?
I agree. And I don't know why they don't have head-to-head betting against horses yet, but that's another story. I guess that's a whole nother.
So who you got, Pratt or Ortiz?
I saw Pratt's leaving for 2 days, 2 Saturdays, and Irad's leaving for 1. But Pratt now rides in just as many. See, that was why Irad was beating him last year, is because Irad rode in more races. Well, Pratt rides in every race now in New York. He's in every barn. I would say Irad because I'm slightly biased towards him, but it wouldn't shock me. But I was joking, just talking to someone. I think it's probably like first one to 65. I mean, because people, Gaffleone's not riding at this meet unless it's on demand. He's not like, I mean, he usually comes third at this meet, I think. So you lose a guy like him. I mean, these guys might win 65, 70 races. I'm serious. I mean, Gaffleone, they might get to 70. The winner might get to 70.
What's the record? Shame on me for not knowing.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
I'm sure Irad or Jose didn't. I was going to say Jose. Crazy meet. Didn't he have a crazy meet like 5 or 6 years ago where he won like I don't know the exact amount because it might be Jose. I'm sure it's Irad or Jose. It's also a 40-day meet now, so the guys before 40-day meets never had a prayer, so it's going to just be
more races. 44-day meet though, right?
That they don't count. That's the jockey title Pratt won was from Belmont at Aqueduct opening
when
day.
People say 44, they're counting the July 4th 4.
Okay. Yeah, but they didn't count towards titles. Obviously, the jockey race starts over.
So you might need 8 guesses to get who has the most wins in a single meet.
It's not Jose or Irad. Is it Javier?
Nope. It's a really good rider.
Johnny V. Does he still ride? Oh.
He broke Johnny V's record.
Oh, I know. It
is Ramon Dominguez. 68. So yeah, the 2012.
I was there the day he won 5 races. That was the first time I ever went to Saratoga. He was to honor and serve well, it's not the Jockey Cup Gold Cup. It was it's a Woodward.
Woodward?
When it was at Saratoga, I was there that day, and that's how I knew it was Ramon Dominguez because I remember now him. I think he won like 5 or 6 races that day.
Wow. Yeah. So 69 would break the record, which everyone would have fun with that number. But yeah,
let's get 70 would be
70 would be a big one.
Let's get to 70.
Yeah. Mark McGuire style.
Is that how many home runs he had in a year or something?
I think when he broke Maris's record, he hit. I mean, Bonds then broke that, but
I know this much about baseball. Sorry, everybody. I know this much about baseball.
you're
So
not
I
a
just
Past fan?
No.
All right, last one. Lots of good Grade 1 races, of course, at Saratoga from start to finish, but certainly this year, the two marquee look like they are going to be for the older males, the Whitney, and for 3-year-old, the Travers. We got what we wanted for. I mean, if you like older males, like the good ones came back, and Napoleon's two of the best ones, and he's not afraid to run them against each other. Whitney looks like it could be the race.
Fierceness, White Barrio, Sierra Leone, Skippy Longstockings, your favorite horse.
Mind frame.
TBD. Doesn't look like
TBD.
it.
No, that's
It
mellowed.
looks like Jockey Gold Cup. They kind of like they said they might wait. But I mean, regardless, if you get Sierra Leone, Fierceness, White Barrio, Skippy,
absolutely.
You'll get some other horses, some other top
some
horses.
others will be in there.
It's going to be interesting. I think Mind Frame. It's a big. What have you done lately? Sport, but Mind Frame might be. He might. I want to say he's better in Fierceness yet because Fierceness can run brilliant races, but for a horse to win going 7 furlongs and then win a mile and an eighth in a Grade 1 against top horses like that,
against good horses, that was a good group.
It's pretty impressive. So
yeah, no, I mean, I didn't love him going into that race especially wagering. I thought it's the favorite. Like I was willing to take a shot against, but I thought that was the best race I've seen this year.
And he ran straight too. Like he wasn't all.
And I know some people said Sovereignty's Belmont, which was great too, but 3-year-olds, the number wasn't as good. Like everything about Mind Frames Foster came back, visually, and then the numbers backed it up. So yeah, I'd have him number 1 right now in terms of the classic division.
Yeah, I think Mind Frame right now is probably the leader in the division. I mean, if you went back-to-back Grade 1s, 2 distances going into I wish he would run in the Whitney. I think it would be cool, but I do understand because if Fierceness won the Whitney and then he won the Jockey Gold Cup and then you have 2 horses back to, like you have 2 chances at Horse of the Year instead of
exactly.
If Mind Frame beat him and beat Fierceness and then Fierceness, whatever. I mean, it's a long. They might neither might make it. You never know. It's a long way to go. So,
yeah.
But I would put him at the top right now.
Then the Travers,
Nice-Os,
Sovereignty. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he'll stay in California. Not staying in California.
Yeah, I heard
Journalism, who's looking at the Haskell.
Yeah, so I heard he's going Haskell Pacific Classic. That's just what I was told. Could be wrong, but they don't want to go to the Haskell, go all the way back to California, and then come all the way back to Saratoga because he has shipped a lot. Like,
yeah,
I mean, to be fair, he came all the way to Kentucky. He went to Baltimore. He went to Saratoga. He went back. I mean, that horse he's traveled a lot. So.
I mean, the Travers is great, and obviously, if you wanted to point to that, you'd understand. I don't have any problem, though, if the alternative is an established Grade 1, which the Pacific Classic is. So, yes. I'm sure some people say he's stuck in Sovereignty, but, I mean, so what? Like, he'll see him in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, I mean, if you won the Haskell and you go to let's say you won the Pacific Classic and Sovereignty wins the Travers, a Horse of the Year would come down to the Classic.
That's right.
So, no, I think it's interesting. The Travers is usually the main race of the meet, obviously. So it's always look forward to that. Sovereignty is going in the Jim Dandy against Sandman and probably nobody else, but we'll see who shows up. I think the Ohio Derby winner horses. I think the Ohio. What's the horse's name? Moplex. I think that horse is running
in the Dandy.
Yeah, they wanted to duck Sovereignty, but. I mean, you're going to go to the Haskell and you run against Journalism now, so right. I don't really know.
Plus, after you win the Ohio Derby, like, you're established.
On top of the world.
That's the one you want.
That is better than the West Virginia Derby.
Yes. Picks every day?
Picks every day. All meet long.
Del Mar what's the Okay, so those are every day. And then what, like Million Day and Stakes Day at
Haskell
Ellis?
Day. Haskell
Oh,
Day.
Haskell,
Million
yeah.
Day.
King's Plate?
No King's Plate. I can't
No
do.
King's Plate.
I'm just really bad at random synthetic days. That's a thing.
That's fair.
Like, not my thing. Not my thing. But yeah, no,
No,
I'll have Saratoga every day.
People want
Delmar
to
every
trust
day,
your picks,
Haskell,
so
Million.
that's good on you. And
When
Shappy
is
Hour
Ellis Park
Saturday.
Day? Shappy Hour Saturday. Everybody turn in to listen to me and Scott Shapiro talk about Saratoga races. I think we're doing like 6 through 12, maybe. So,
Yeah, that's
gonna
usually his
talk about.
flavor.
Yeah, he can't. He's not. He can't go the full 1 through 12.
Well, plus he likes to keep it to an hour because it's the Shappy Hour. So
Yeah, he
12
can't.
races a lot in an hour.
He didn't want to do all the work in the baby races, so he ducked me for the first
All he
couple.
needs is the HRN power ratings.
I'll be looking at him.
They're stout.
I'll be looking at him.
Yeah, they're good. I need to run the numbers to. If you don't see me tweet, that means they're not great now that I gave that away, but usually they're pretty good. I find something to brag about.
More information cannot hurt.
That's right. And then just play it against the board. So,
all you
all right. Well, have a great meet.
Thank you. Good luck, everybody.
All right. It's the last look at the top 5. Saratoga is upon us. Going to be a fun one. Good luck, everybody.